Chapter 12. The Tablet. 3 a.m. in a concrete fortress sounds like the inside of a seashell. The ocean was everywhere, a constant rhythmic thrumming that vibrated through the floorboards. Elena couldn't sleep. Beside her, Julian was deep in a dreamless slumber. He slept like he did everything else, efficiently, silently, and without movement. He lay on his back, one arm thrown over his eyes, his breathing slow and steady. Elena slipped out of the high thread count sheets. The floor was cold under her bare feet. She put on Julian's silk robe, cinching the belt tight. She needed water. She needed to shake the feeling that the walls were closing in. She took the elevator down to the main floor. The house was bathed in moonlight, casting long, sharp shadows across the polished concrete. It looked like a mausoleum. She drank a glass of water at the kitchen island, looking out at the black void of the Atlantic. She felt watched. Not by a person, but by the house itself, by the history of it. This is where Silas and I built the original code. She found herself walking down the corridor toward the library. The double doors were still open. The fire had died down to glowing embers, casting a dull orange light over the leather armchairs. Elena walked in. She trailed her hand along the back of the sofa. She looked at the desk where Silas used to sit. She imagined him there, the chaotic genius, reading poetry while Julian wrote the code that would enslave the world. She walked to the bookshelf, to the spot where she had seen the leather notebook earlier. She pulled the notebook out. It was just a journal filled with scribbled equations and sketches. But as she pulled it, something else shifted on the shelf. Tucked behind a row of vintage encyclopedias was a slim rectangular object. Elena reached in. Her fingers brushed against cold metal. She pulled it out. It was an iPad Pro. The screen was cracked in the corner, a spiderweb of glass. It was dusty, the lost tablet. The police report had mentioned that Silas's personal devices had been collected. His phone, his laptop. But this looked like it had been hidden. Deliberately. Elena pressed the power button. A red battery icon flashed on the black screen. Dead. She looked at the desk. There were built-in charging ports. She plugged it in. She waited. 1 minute. 2. The white Apple logo appeared. The screen lit up, illuminating her face in the dark room. Enter passcode. 6 digits. Elena's heart hammered against her ribs. She shouldn't be doing this. This was Julian's house. This was his dead best friend's property. If he woke up and found her snooping. "We are the same species," he had said. "Apex predators. Predators didn't respect privacy. They hunted for advantage." She typed in Silas's birthday. Incorrect passcode. She typed in the date of the Ethelgard IPO. Incorrect passcode. She paused. She thought about what Julian had said earlier. He read poetry. He said the code needed a soul. Silas was sentimental. He wasn't a corporate shark like Julian. He loved the things that Julian despised. She looked at the bookshelf again, at the spine of the book next to where the tablet had been hidden. The Great Gatsby. She pulled the book out. It fell open to a bookmarked page. The bookmark was an old ticket stub to a concert. The page was underlined. "So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past." She looked at the concert ticket. It was for a band called The National. The date was April 12th, 19. It was a long shot, but Silas was the type of man who kept ticket stubs in books. Elena typed in 041219. The lock screen dissolved. The home screen appeared. It was cluttered with apps, games, music, notes, but the mail app was open. Elena tapped it. The inbox was empty, but the drafts folder had one message: subject, to the board, immediate. Elena's breath hitched. She opened the draft. To Lawrence, Board of Directors. From Silas V. Date October 12th, the day before he died. Subject, vote of no confidence / Julian Thorne. Lawrence, I can't do it anymore. I can't watch him turn this company into a weapon. The new defense contracts, the data harvesting, It violates everything we built. I am calling for a formal vote. I have the evidence of the embezzlement. I have the recordings. He's going to try to stop me. He's going to say I'm using again. I'm not. I've been clean for 6 months. Check the medical logs attached. If anything happens to me, check the cloud. The files are there. Silas. Elena stared at the screen. The white text blurred. Silas hadn't overdosed. He was clean. He was about to fire Julian, and Julian knew. A floorboard creaked in the hallway. Elena froze. She snapped the cover of the iPad shut. She pulled the charging cable out. Elena? Julian's voice was sleepy, heavy. She shoved the tablet under the cushion of the leather armchair. She turned around, her heart beating so hard she thought it might bruise her ribs. Julian was standing in the doorway. He was rubbing his eyes. "What are you doing down here?" he asked. "I couldn't sleep," Elena said. Her voice was steady, miraculously steady. "I needed water. I came to find a book." Julian walked into the room. He looked at her. He looked at the empty glass of water on the desk. He looked at the bookshelf. He smiled. It was a sleepy, intimate smile. "Come back to bed," he said. "The ghosts can wait until morning." Elena nodded. She walked toward him. She let him wrap his arm around her waist. She let him lead her back to the elevator. She left the tablet under the cushion, but she took the knowledge with her. She was sleeping with a murderer, and worse, she was helping him get away with it.